Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world. This is the world away. Now, when it comes to branding, can you tell what I'm going to be building today? I've even got my light red today. We're going to be working on the Fanhome release of Build the F1 2000 Michael Schumacher Ferrari. This does remind me of that scene in Wayne's World where he's just covered in Reebok. There's got Ferrari everywhere. Okay, I thought let's have a little marathon today. So every single Michael Schumacher Ferrari episode or stage I've got is right here. So I've basically got up to stage 6 to 14. And looking at each pack, there isn't really much to do in each one. So you know what? I'm going to do all of them. So I don't know how many stages this is. It's a few. So definitely sit back and relax while I go through what we've done. Now, obviously, what we have been working on is this front nose cone at the moment, and looking in here as well, we did work on the, bring it up here, the spoiler as well, looking like that. And then finally, we had already done one of the wheels, looking like that. So we're going to be building onto that today. Now, if you want to get this for yourself, it's available through Fanhome. I have put a link in the video description, and I have put the QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. Okay, so stage 6. This is where we got up to. So this is the magazine looking like this. And the instructions are right at the end, actually, of these magazines. We're going to be doing the front left brake, looking just like this. Putting that together. So that's how it should look. So once again, when you have got loads of packs together, let me just get my blade here. There's no numbers on here to show you which one it is. So if you just look at the last 3 digits of the barcode, it will tell you what stage you're actually working on. So this is stage 6. And the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to take 2 parts of the brake disc and put them together. So they're going together like this. So the indented side or the marked sides are facing each other. So that will give that look for a brake disc. All that's left to do then is put the brake disc bell in, which is going to just match up with the holes here. So that's on like that. And it's going to be held in with 3 NP screws. Now, these are quite tiny. So once again, I'm using my PH00 screwdriver. And there you go. That's all 3 of those in place. We can just put that to one side quickly because we're going to be now working on the caliper here, looking like this. I want it this way round because I do have a bracket that I need to put in, which is actually going to go on this side here, over the holes here. And again, we're going to be putting KM screws this time to hold this in. And because they're still tiny screws, I am going to still use my PH00 screwdriver. Now we are going into metal here because this caliper is metal, so once again, I have put some oil on this, but there we go. That's in place. That's 2 parts made. Put them to one side, and now I'm going to be bringing over this part and the bracket here. And I'm going to want to put this bracket on top just here. Now, it's actually going to go in that way. Probably best on the top camera. Once again, it's held in with the same KM screws. So, get these in nice and tight. Seems like we're making all the components separately. We've got 3 components now, and now we're just going to be making a cooling duct, which is putting these 2 together and ensure that they're pushed together just like that. The last thing to do is in this section here, I've got a bracket that I need to put on, which is actually going to be going around this way, and it's going to be sitting in here like that. And I'm believing that I do need to push this down. There's a lug there. So I'm pushing this down so it's attached to this hub and it can't fall out. I'm then going to be putting the duct here on, and we do have locating lugs for this. So this can only go on one way. Turning it over, and in the holes that are left on this side, which hasn't got the locating lugs, I'm using CP screws. Bigger screws now, so I'm back to using my PH0 screwdriver. There you go, that's in place. So on this spindle here, we're going to be putting the brake disc, which goes on like that, and then we're going to be putting the caliper over the top. We're going to slot the caliper in here, so it's going to fit over the top like this, And then we're going to be putting screws just through the 2 holes here. Once again, these are KM screws. So it's the smaller PHOO screwdriver I'm using to hold this into place. So one there. And one here. Perfect. And with that into place, that is a brake hub completed. Okay, stage 7. Here's the instructions. Looking like this. I'm guessing we're going to do that again. I know, we've got another wheel here. This is the first rear wheel. So this is going to be quick because we don't have to soak these or anything like that. That looks like that. Get this open. On the wheel, we're looking for the little mark just here. And now I've got that mark, I know that this part of the rim, which is metal, is going to go in there. Turning this over, and I'm going to match the stuff up here with this other side of the rim, which is actually plastic. Just get that lined up. Perfect. And then I've got these BM screws here, which is going to hold all of this into place. Now, I don't put these all in tight. I just put them in loose to make sure they all line up properly. And then when I've got 2 in, I know all the rest of these are going to line up. I can just tighten everything up. So as I said, because of the makeup of these tyres, it does say you can soften these up by putting them in hot water, but you really don't need to on this build, because that is in place. That's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 8, here's the instructions. Looking like this. And once again, we're going to be making another brake hub. So we've done this once. Let's whiz through this one. Which means brake discs put together. Brake bell put on top here. Holding that in with 3 MP screws. Take the caliper and the bracket here. We're going to be putting these together. So this goes over those sections there, and they're held in with KM screws. Perfect. Then we're going to be taking the hub. We've got the little bracket to put on here with those same KM screws. Put the duct together. Push it tight like that. And then we've got this little detail here that, again, we've got the lug on here that I'm pushing down to make sure that that is uniform with this. Then I can put this into place, and again, this can only go in one way because you do have locating lugs on there. So that's in like that. And then CP screws, 2 of these to hold this in. Excellent, that's in place. And then we're just going to be putting this whole thing together. So again, we take this section, put the brake disc on top, and then put the caliper just on top here, holding that in once again with the KM screws. So that's the last screw just going into there, and that means now we've made 2 brake hubs. In stage 9, here's the instructions, looking like this. And we have now got the rear left brake. Does that mean we're doing this again? God, we're going to go for it even quicker this time. You know what? I've just looked at the next 2 packs. This is the quandary I've got. Please tell me in the comments about this. These are slightly different, actually, so I can go through this once. But when things are repetitive and I whiz through them, is that okay to do? Some people said they like seeing me do every single sort of like, every single screw. I just can't see if you'd find that enjoyable or not. Okay, so first thing, we're going to bracket what I'm going to be putting in here, which is going to go over this section just like that. So this is a lot different to what we've just done. We're holding that in with KM screws. What this does mean is obviously the brake hubs here, which are the backs, are they? They're going to be different from the front. So once I've done one, in the next stage, obviously we're going to be doing this again. So I will just whiz through this again. Now, I've got this little detail here, which is the flange, says insert a flange. It's got an L on it. It's actually going to go in here. And we do have a locating lug in here. I'm just going to hold that in. I'm holding that in with 1 kp screw. Locating lugs very much help you line these up. So that's looking like that. Bring over the caliper again. And I've got this tiny bracket here, which is going to go into place, which actually goes on the top. And again, we do have a locating lug here. So get the locating lug in. And then that's going to line up the rest of that detail. I want a KM screw to hold this bracket in. There you go, that's the caliper done. Making the brake disc is exactly the same as what we just did before. So it's a case of just lining up these areas here, putting them together, and taking the bell, putting that on here, and then holding that in with the MP screws. And we're now in a position to put this all together. So once again, we're going to be putting the brake disc over the top, just like that. We're going to be putting the caliper in to hold this into place. So the two parts of the caliper are going to go on that black bracket that we put in before. So that fits over the top there, and that's held in with KP screws. Perfect. So that's looking like that. And now we've got these pieces that we're going to be putting in. And I'm just lining up where they go. This actually goes on top just here. So it fits lovely into that indent there. It's held in with KM screws. So one in there and one just in the other side there. And then we're going to hide all of those screws by putting this little detail into place, which actually just pins in to the lugs that we've got either side. So one there and one there, and then push that in. Make sure it's in all the way. There you go. And that is another hub complete. So you know, in the other stage we're going to do, on the next stage, we're going to do this again. So for that reason, I will show you the magazine, but I think I'm just going to get on with it. Let's have a look. As you see, doing exactly the same thing all over again. Actually, someone suggested a uncut raw edition where I don't do any edits. Right, so first thing I do is put this bracket in here, just like that again, holding it in with KM screws. Put the flange on here, which is held in with a KP screw. Put the bracket on the caliper, which again has a locating lug, held in with a KM screw. Put the brake discs together, the bell on top, hold that in with 3 MP screws. And then we're going to start putting all of these together. So this goes on here like that. We're going to take the caliper and put this over, so it's going over the top of that black bracket we put in. Put the KP screws here to hold this in. There we go, that's that in. Then we've got this base to put in, which goes in just like that. Once again held in with KM screws. And then finally we're just putting this section in here, pushing all the lugs in so this can fit flat in here. Just like that. You heard that clip in then. And there we go. That's the last one completed. So stage 11. Here's the instructions. Now when we start doing the engine, things go really quick because there's hardly anything to do in each stage. As you can see, there's just loads. Okay. Now you can see why I decided to do loads in one go. So for example, this one that we're putting in here, we've got this little plastic thing, but it's actually put in by just pushing the lugs into this metal part of the engine block, and it's a tight fit, but that's all there is to do in that stage. So stage 12, there's the man himself. Go through the magazine, and 3 parts here that we're going to add to what we've just done. So again, not much to do in there. Information about how to use tools and what tools to use and stuff. Obviously, all my tools are in the Amazon store. So everything I use, you can get from the Amazon store. And I think I'll put a thing up on the screen so you can see that. But once again, we've got another little plastic section here that we're just going to be pushing into the metal part of the engine block again. Make sure that's nice and flush in there. Perfect. Then I'm going to be putting the cap on top of the hydraulic pump here, which is a case of just pushing it in like that. And then this, as you can see, has got a D-shaped pattern. It's actually going to go on this side of the engine block here. It's going to fit in just there. It's held in with a CP screw, which I've already got out. I do find the best way to do this now is to do it this way. It stops things going in my fingers. But with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. Stage 13, whizzing through it at the moment, aren't we? Here's the magazine. I apologise, I got a spider on my camera. Was that on the camera now? It's probably running around here. I've had a little spider catastrophe in here because an egg sack's opened up, and actually I've just seen the mum over there. I'm going to suck her up in a minute. But yeah, there's been little spiders everywhere, which I'm trying to get. So this is stage 13. Again, not much to do in this one. Spider catastrophe averted. You'll be happy to know. Okay. On top here, we've got one of these lugs which has got like a keyhole pattern on it. I'm going to need to know that, apparently. I don't know why I need to know that. I'm just looking at the instructions here. It's because this has got the same notch in it, just like this. And this is actually going to go on top. So we want that notch that we've got in there to be facing this side like that. It's held in with CM screws. Get these in the top. These are going into metal, so I have put these in oil. And with this last screw, that's all there is to do in this stage. So the last like 4 stages have been hyper fast. And guess what? We're now on the last stage that I've actually got here. And believe me, there's not much to do in this one either. So this is the magazine. And as you can see, just 2 little parts there. Putting it together just like that. And some more information about tools. So I think with everyone else now, I'm actually caught up with this build. What we are going to do though, is this is the engine block here. I'm going to be putting this bracket just over the top here, like that. It's held in with EM screws. They spent a whole page telling you which way round they go. And I'll be honest with you, all you could do was just have a look at the, let's use a bigger screwdriver here. You could just look at the picture on the second page and it's pretty easy to see how this goes on. I think they had to pad it out because this last screw I'm putting in here means that that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. So what have we actually done in, how many packs did we do there? Over 10, wasn't it? We've got 2 parts of the engine block. We've got the end here. We made 4 hubs. Everything else that I've got on my desk here is what we've created in other packs. Now, the fact that I have collected these up means I don't know how many was meant to be in each pack, but I'm guessing if you had a delivery of the last ones, that would have gone pretty much light speed. Anyway, I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.